Because we're not talking about restraining the gentleladies from Michigan's ability to speak as an American citizen. We're not talking about punishing her, putting her in jail. What we're talking about is whether a member of the United States House of Representatives, whether a member of this body representing this nation is justified in putting forward a defense of the actions of Hamas terrorists that murdered innocent Israeli citizens, is holding United States citizens and Israelis hostage, and in her own language was defending on October 8th, a mere 24 hours into the brutal and barbaric attacks in which babies were beheaded, babies were placed into ovens, literally. Moms were raped in a house while their babies were put in an oven.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Congress Flash. Today we dive into what just happened in Congress wasn't just a political debate, it was a full-blown firestorm. One Democratic Congresswoman from Michigan was officially censured for her comments on the Israel-Palestine conflict, and the fallout has been intense. Raw emotions, personal attacks, and a deep fracture across party lines. Today, I'm breaking down critical moments from this explosive session. What was said, what it means, and why this could be a turning point in how we talk about war, peace, and freedom of speech in America. Let's get into it. Let's start with what kicked all this off. The House of Representatives was debating whether to censure a Democratic Congresswoman from Michigan over her public comments about the Israel-Gaza war. The resolution passed, but not quietly. It sparked outrage and fierce arguments across the aisle. At the heart of the
As a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America, and this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes, and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
Desperation. So desperate to distract the American people from their total inability to govern. The GOP is now doing what it is best at, weaponizing hate against a black, beautiful Muslim woman. Congresswoman Omar's lived experience as a refugee and a child of survivor of war should be welcomed on this committee. It is needed. When you can't pass any bills that actually improve the people's lives, they turn Congress into a place of fear-mongering hate. It is so painful to watch. How ironic that the so-called lovers of personal freedom are now moving to censor Congresswoman Omar in the same week they introduced a bill to ban federal employees from engaging in censorship. Where are the free speech warriors today? The hypocrisy is obvious to the American people. You are showing who you all are, really.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Omar will not be silenced.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
To Congresswoman Omar, I am so sorry, sis, that our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong
The gentlewoman is no longer recognized, and the gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
The gentlelady cannot, as a member of Congress, be standing up and telling the world that what we saw unfold in attacking Israel is justified. We can't.
Mr. Chair, do you know what it's like to fear rising hate crimes, to know how Islamophobia and anti-Semitism makes us all less safe, and worry that your own child might suffer the horrors that 6-year-old Wadia did in Illinois. I can't believe I have to say this, but Palestinian people are not disposable. We are human beings, just like anyone else. My city, my grandmother, like all Palestinians, just wants to live her life with freedom and human dignity we all deserve. Speaking up to save lives, Mr. Chair, no matter faith, no matter ethnicity, should not be controversial in this chamber. The cries of the Palestinian and Israeli children sound no different to me. What I don't understand is why the cries of Palestinians sound different to you all. We cannot lose our shared humanity, Mr. Chair. I hear the voices of advocates in Israel, in Palestine, across America, and around the world for peace. I am inspired by the courageous survivors in Israel who have lost loved ones, yet are calling for a ceasefire and the end to violence. I am grateful to the people in the streets for the peace movement, with countless Jewish Americans across the country standing up and lovingly saying, "Not in our name." We will continue to call for a ceasefire, Mr. Chair, for the immediate delivery of critical humanitarian aid to Gaza, for the release of all hostages and those arbitrarily detained, and for every American to come home. We will continue to work for a real lasting peace that upholds human rights and dignity of all people and centers in peaceful coexistence between Israelis and Palestinians, and censures no one, and ensures that no person, no child has to suffer or live in fear of violence.
At the heart of the issue, her early response to the October 7th Hamas attacks, which critics say crossed a line by justifying terrorism. Her opponents accused her of defending Hamas, pointing to statements she made just 24 hours after those brutal attacks on Israeli civilians. That's the accusation. But what did she actually say? In her emotional speech, the Congresswoman made it clear she was calling for a ceasefire, for the release of hostages, and for humanitarian aid to Gaza. She spoke of her own roots, her grandmother in the West Bank, her city, her people, and made one powerful statement: Palestinian people are not disposable.
I had some people who called into question that I would put out my public support for my former colleague, Justin Amash, who lost cousins in a church, receiving missile fire into a building next to a church. I genuinely pray for the people of Israel, the people of Gaza, the people throughout the world that are now dealing with all of this. But the gentlelady cannot, as a member of Congress, be standing up and telling the world that what we saw unfold in attacking Israel is justified. We can't. Free speech matters. I have grave concern right now about where this institution is going with respect to censures. I voted against the censure last week because I thought it had drafting problems, and I thought it had significant concerns it raised. I believe the work that was done by my friend from Georgia here put forward a resolution.
To her, this wasn't a defense of violence, it was a plea for peace. She condemned hate crimes, spoke out against both Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, and reminded the chamber that 71% of Democrats in her own state support a ceasefire. Now, whether you agree or not, that's a strong case that she was representing her constituents, but not everyone saw it that way. This is where things get complicated. Her critics, mostly Republicans but not all, said this wasn't about silencing her speech. They claimed it was about holding elected officials to a higher moral standard. You can't stand in the halls of Congress, they argued, and frame terrorist attacks as resistance. That's not just political commentary, that's crossing a moral line. And here's where I want to pause and ask you, if you're finding this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss deep dives like this. We cut through the noise so you can think clearly. Alright, let's talk about what her supporters said in response. Progressive members of Congress, especially women of color, pushed back hard. They claimed the censure wasn't about morality or terrorism. It was about racism, Islamophobia, and a pattern of targeting women of color, particularly Muslim lawmakers. One congresswoman slammed the hypocrisy, pointing out that members of the same chamber had spread anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, remember Jewish space lasers, yet faced no consequences and were even rewarded with top committee roles. So the message was clear. If you're a woman of color, especially a Muslim woman, you're held to a different standard. Whether that's fair or not, it hit a nerve. Let's zoom out. This censure vote is about way more than one congresswoman. It's about how we talk about war. It's about whether dissent is allowed when it challenges U.S. foreign policy. It's about free speech, moral clarity, and political accountability, all clashing in real time. Her opponent said Congress must send a clear message that any defense of terrorism, implied or explicit, is unacceptable. Her supporters said silencing voices calling for peace and human rights sends the wrong message to the world, especially when it comes to marginalized communities. And now with the resolution passed, Congress is more divided than ever. So, what do you think? Was this censure justified, or did it set a dangerous precedent for punishing dissent? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And don't forget, if you want more breakdowns like this that go deeper than the headlines, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Until next time, stay informed, stay bold, and never stop asking questions. Peace.